Tonight, we journey deep into the heart of the Sahara. We seek the man who held most of the world's gold within his grasp. He was Mansa Musa, a West African ruler whose very name meant boundless wealth. His camel caravans carried not only gold, but also the most distant dreams of a civilization. Let us wander through this golden haze, and feel that steady, vast peace. If wealth truly had a color, it would be the endless golden sand and shimmering glow in Mansa Musa's eyes. He once led a great host of tens of thousands across the wilderness. With a single act of generosity, he disrupted the prices of a great city for an entire decade. This is not a story of greed. It is a story of devotion, of vision, and of profound solitude. Close your eyes, follow the soft, melodic chime of camel bells, step with us into the dreamlike golden age of Mansa Musa. On the edge of the world map, there once stood the empire of Mali. Every tree and every stone there seemed to be touched and blessed by gold. Mansa Musa, the ruler of this golden empire, chose a long, distant journey at the height of his glory. When he reached the peak of worldly power, what was he truly searching for? A divine revelation? Or his own redemption? Tonight, let this low, gentle narration guide you into a golden dream deep within the desert. Prologue. Imagine Cairo in the year 1324. The sun blazes hot, and the bazaars roar with life. Suddenly, a procession unlike any other appears on the horizon. It is not merely a caravan, it is an entire kingdom on the move. 80,000 attendants draped in Persian silk. 500 slaves bearing scepters forged from pure gold. Behind them, 80 camels loaded to the brink with powdered gold. Tonight, by the soft, flickering fire, let us enter the real life of Mansa Musa, a story you need not struggle to remember. On that day, he scattered gold freely through the streets of Cairo, so carelessly and abundantly that gold prices remained depressed across the region for 12 full years. He was the ruler of the Mali Empire, the wealthiest man of his era, so rich that history itself grew dizzy in his presence. People remember his generosity, remember the blinding gold, yet few have ever stopped to ask, what was this man thinking? In a desert kingdom where even drinking water was scarce, why did he wander with enough wealth to buy half the world? Tonight, relax your fingers and your breath, walk with that silent caravan, through the burning heat of the Sahara, and listen to the secrets of gold hidden beneath the windswept sand. Chapter 1, The Golden Heart Wrapped in Sand. The story begins not in glittering Egypt, but on the high plains of West Africa, long seen as the edge of the known world. Mansa Musa inherited an empire called Mali. In his time, the wider world knew almost nothing of this land. On European maps, the lands south of the Sahara were nothing but a blank space, labeled only with the warning, "Here be lions." But beneath Musa's feet, that land beat with a golden heart. Mali produced roughly 2/3 of the world's known gold supply. To walk through Mali in those days was to see gold not as a rare luxury, but as something common enough to pave the streets. Young Musa sat by the banks of the Niger River, watching fine golden dust glint in the current, yet a strange emptiness stirred within him. He was no miser, counting coins day and night. Wealth had become so abundant to him that it had lost all meaning in numbers. He wondered, if a nation held the world's most precious metal, yet remained isolated on the margins of civilization, was that not a kind of sorrow? He longed for connection. He longed for the world to see that beyond the sea of sand lay a kingdom of deep faith and equal splendor. That thought, like a seed buried deep within a gold mine, slowly germinated in the dark earth and finally gave birth to the journey that changed history. Chapter 2, The Choice, Where Power and Faith Meet in the Desert. In 1312, Mansa Musa's brother, the previous ruler, sailed into the Atlantic with 1,000 ships and never returned. He left behind a vast empire, and a younger brother, Musa, took up the scepter, yet he felt more like a lonely watchman than a conqueror. The Mali Empire was no closed prison. Through desert trade routes, it maintained faint but vital ties with the Muslim world of North Africa. During evening prayers, Musa often listened as merchants described the grandeur of Mecca, the lights shining across the Mediterranean. He understood that as a ruler, his mission was not only to dig gold from the earth, but to uncover the light within his people's souls. He resolved to go on the Hajj, the pilgrimage to Mecca. This was not only an act of faith, but a grand international debut spanning thousands of kilometers. It required extraordinary courage. The Sahara was a cruel beast, swallowing water and wool alike. His counselors urged him not to go, warning that such a long journey would throw the empire into chaos, but Musa's gaze was unshakable. He would go, and he would bring his finest guards, tons of gold, and the pride of an entire empire. He wanted to see if the world was truly as vast as the tales claimed. He wanted the world to see his people, not as wild savages, but as a noble, civilized nation. With these tangled, noble hopes, that history-making procession slowly moved northward beneath the fading sunset. Chapter 3, The Journey, Dancing on the World's Loneliest Stage. From high above, the caravan looked like a golden line slowly snaking across a sheet of yellow silk. Mansa Musa walked at the very front. He did not ride a stallion decorated in gold, but chose a simple camel instead, a gesture of humility before Allah, even though the wealth behind him could have bought every soul alive. Nights in the desert were bitterly cold. Musa often sat by the campfire until late, listening to camels chew their cud, gazing up at the brilliant, unobscured stars. He realized that before the infinite power of nature, gold bricks could not stop the sand, nor quench the thirst. Along the way, he witnessed life and death. Some attendants collapsed in the dunes, their golden scepters left beside their bodies, unwanted and worthless. This clash of extreme luxury and extreme desolation echoed in Musa's mind like a philosophical vision. He grew more generous. At every oasis, every poor settlement, he ordered gold to be distributed freely. At first, this generosity was a display of strength, but over time, it became a kind of offering to fate, a quiet surrender to something greater than gold. He passed through Tut, through Got, through every desert outpost. Everywhere he stopped, a wild myth of the Golden King took root, and that legend raced full speed toward the heart of the Mediterranean world, Egypt. Chapter 4, The Shock. The afternoon Cairo drowned in gold. When Mansa Musa arrived in Cairo, the entire city froze. The Mamluk Sultan al-Nasir had initially refused to meet this guest from Black Africa, dismissive and arrogant, but when he saw the gifts Musa brought, enough to fill his own treasury, his pride shattered instantly. Musa, however, remained composed and dignified. He politely refused all extravagant ceremonies, asking only to pray at the great mosque and give alms to the people. What followed was an almost absurd outpouring of charity. Musa walked through Cairo's streets, scooping up gold coins and scattering them as casually as we might toss grain in a market. Cairo's merchants went mad, never had they seen such a flood of wealth. Everyone tried to sell anything and everything to the Mali caravan. Prices soared, the value of gold plummeted from oversupply. This economic shock lasted more than a decade. Musa stayed in Cairo for a long time. He built schools, invited scholars, and proved he was no crude upstart, but a true seeker of knowledge. In that great Mediterranean center, he drank deeply of civilization's wisdom. He bought chests of books, hired the finest architects, and planned to carry Cairo's knowledge back to his distant homeland. Standing on the banks of the Nile, he may have felt a satisfaction unlike any other. He had proven Mali's greatness. He had proven the power of gold, but after the glitter faded, he still faced the long desert crossing home, and the future of his empire. Chapter 5, The Return, From the Peak of Gold to Earth and Faith. The journey home from pilgrimage always carries a quiet, melancholy poetry. Mansa Musa had given away most of his gold in Egypt and the holy city of Mecca. On the return trip, delayed by hardships, the once richest man in the world was even forced to take high-interest loans from Cairo merchants. It sounds ironic, yet Musa remained perfectly calm. To him, wealth had always been energy meant to circulate, not hoard. He returned to Mali filled with knowledge, accompanied by poets and architects from across the world. He set about transforming Timbuktu. Upon its yellow earthen soil, he built the Sankore Mosque, West Africa's first true university. He no longer cared only about gold production. He cared about the sound of learning, about bridges leading to truth. Under his rule, Timbuktu grew from a lonely trading post into a pearl of wisdom shining on the edge of the Sahara. Even in his later years, after decades of generosity left the imperial treasury less full than before, the light in his eyes burned brighter than ever. He often stood atop the newly built mosque, watching the sunset over the Niger River. Its golden glow still illuminated his face. He understood that gold would always flow away through trade, but the seeds of civilization, once planted, could grow into great, sheltering trees. In 1337, this golden king passed away in peaceful sleep. He left no pyramids, but he left behind the warm, lasting glow of a golden age. Epilogue. Mansa Musa's story has faded over time, carried away by desert winds, yet the moment he gave to the world still enchants us. A man who owned the world's gold chose, at the height of his glory, to walk into the desert and embrace a higher faith. Was this the triumph of wealth? Or the soul's transcendence over material things? I believe the answer lies in your calm, steady heartbeat. Even today, Timbuktu still holds its ancient mud brick buildings. At sunset, they glow with a warmth softer and more lasting than gold. That is history's gentle puzzle for us, of value, of splendor, of eternity. It is also our greatest comfort. Mansa Musa has long since become a grain of dust in the Sahara, yet the distant chime of camel bells still seems to whisper in the night breeze. Now let your thoughts wander, like those caravans loaded with wisdom, slowly toward the horizon. No more heavy gold bricks. No more burning sun, only this peace, gently wrapping around your dreams. The world is quiet, the sand has settled, you have returned to your own quiet inner castle. Good night, may your dreams be filled with soft, golden light.